Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to room categories computer science file of parallel session. My name is Firmanul Catur Wibowo, PhD. It is an honor for me to be moderator for this parallel session. We are in room number which consists of number presentation, 8 presenters with the topic of computer science. The detailed information regarding the schedule of parallel session, presenter name, and the title of the paper can be found in the abstract book that has been shared. Each presenter will present the material in sequential as stated in the abstract book. Halo? I'm sorry. Let us do the continuous parallel session. Before the session begins, please allow us to inform you the detail of this session. To all presenter, please pay attention to the following points. Number one, please make sure to use the right name format as well information before. Please kindly check the parallel session schedule to ensure your presentation time. We hope that you are all in the right room. Please join the parallel session since your presentation is scheduled at the beginning. Please do not wait until it is time for your presentation to join. Number 4, invited speaker will be present the paper directly in live session. The allocation in this room, no invited speaker. The next information, other the presentation video of each presenter will be played by the technical team with duration 10 minutes. Next information, the question and answer session for each presenter will be conducted after the presentation video presented. There are allocated time for question and answer. Session is 5 minutes for each presenter. Presenter will be allowed to turn on microphone during question and answer session. Next information, all presenters are expected to turn on the video camera and to use the virtual background of the conference. If you have any technical issue, please reach our directly moderator or technical team via chat box. To all audience, please keep the microphone mute when presentation is going on. This is to prevent unwanted noise and disturbance. If you have any question for the presenter, please write it down in the chat box. The last information, if any time is possible, moderator may be allowed to the audience to ask questions directly to the presenter. Okay. Let us do the continuous parallel session. Ladies and gentlemen, the first presenter will be conducted by name Kinkin Juliati Subarsa Putri. Can you hear me, Miss Kinkin?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Firman.
Okay, nice to meet you, Mr. Kinkin.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Firman.
Okay.
Sorry, is it directly or I can use the video of presentation?
Kinkin ngirim video.
I have already sent the video
Okay,
presentation for today.
the video, yes. I take the video. I'm sorry to the limit time because the laptop from the operator hangs. uh, okay, okay, udah bisa. Okay, okay,
Okay, thank you, Mr. Firman.
okay, okay. The first
So
presenter will be conducted Kinkin Juliatis Barsa, and the title Health Communication Information System Model during the pandemic. Okay, now,
Okay.
okay, allow to live. Okay.
hello everyone. So in this opportunity, I have the chance to be one of the representative of my um, research team talking about health communication information system model during the 2019 to 2022 pandemic with my lecturer here, Dr. Kinkin Yuliati Subasa Putri, Dr. Wirati Anindita, and Ms. Nada Arina Romli, and also my fellow friends, Diva Reva, myself, Hana Hanifah, and also Muhammad Aditya. Introduction of our study is the government's information system in reporting about COVID-19 in Indonesia has been running continuously since the announcement of the upcoming pandemic. Obtaining information about COVID-19 starts from understanding the level of exposure, variants of the derivative virus, the effects or impacts that will be felt, handling to services provided by the government, especially through health workers. The government took part in initiating an information system on official online websites such as covid19.go.id and kemkes.go.id, as well as in an application known as Peduli Lindungi. In the Peduli Lindungi application, there are various features that function as information distributors according to needs, as well as features that function as handling and also services related to prevention and treatment. Reuters Institute Digital News report in 2021, which chose Indonesia as one of the research sites, revealed that online with a percentage of 89% and social media with a percentage of 64%. Mobile phones were ranked the highest as a means of accessing news and information used by most people with a percentage of 85%. Here's the data as you can see on our screen. The following is a number of data related to COVID-19 in Indonesia that researchers obtained from the Central Statistic Agency, results of the community behavior survey during the COVID-19 pandemic period 16 to 25 of February 2022. So the first data that you see here is the statistic of respondents' behavior towards the COVID-19 news, and the next one is the media for delivering COVID-19 information, and the last one is delivery of COVID-19 educational materials. So our research question is whether there is an effect of the health communication information system on the attitude of the health community during the pandemic in Indonesia. The purpose of this study was to determine the model of a health communication information system on the attitude of the health community during a pandemic in Indonesia. Previous research supports our research, and the concept used is a health communication information system and public attitudes. Our research methods, we use quantitative research methods by distributing questionnaires to 118 respondents in Jakarta and surrounding areas. Dimensional validity of collecting, processing, keeping, and spread the information from information system variables with a value of KMO 0.876 with a sign 0.000. Cognitive, affective, and cognitive validity of the attitude value of KMO 0.734 with a sign 0.000. The reliability of information system variables in public attitudes is R 0.865 and R 0.879, so that the bivariate analysis of this study can be continued to the next analysis.
Next, this is health communication information system research model on people's attitudes. So, simple linear regression research has a positive effect on people's attitudes. Based on the result of simple linear regression in this study, there is an influence between health communication literacy and community attitudes, where the R value is 0.912, 0.935, 0.929, then 0.875 with a significance value of 0.000. The conclusion is the result of a descriptive study of two variables in the organization of the health sciences high school have a positive value in this study. This research model has the value of having a strong influence on attitudes during the COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Firman. Thank you for the convenience time for us. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Kikin and team. It's very excellent, the team of research, because including student in your research, Mr. Kikin. I am
Yes,
interested.
absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the question and answer or discussion. Okay. Any question to the Mr. Kinkin Julianti Subasa, the title of the research, Health Community Information System during pandemic COVID? Presenter, any question to Ms. Kinkin and team? Okay.
Why are you using linear regression for your research?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Eka. Can you repeat the
Yes,
question?
Mr. Eka. Why are you linear?
I see some text regarding linear regression in your slide, and I'm questioning the role of the method on your research. May you clarify?
Yes, I use. Thank you for your question, Mr. Eka. It's nice question for us. We use the simple regression because we found the phenomena of the pandemic because I use one perspective in social science, especially communication perspective. So I related with the technology information and communication science, and then we found it that the pandemic can make us to aware about the health communication information. Thank you, Mr. Eka.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Eka, for your question to Mr. Kinkin. And then you, Mr. Kikin, yeah, answered. Okay, the next presenter, before the limited time, the second presenter is Mr. Ivan. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The second presenter is Mr. Ivan. The title of the research, forecasting rainfall in Surabaya using the singular spectrum analysis method. Okay. How are you? Okay. Okay. Maximum presentation 10 minutes. Time is yours, Mr. Ivan.
My name is Ivan, and I am representing my team, Mr. Tuhar Jupri, Mrs. Sulilasmi, and Ms. Ikata Fitri from the Department of Actuarial Science, Institut Teknologi 10 November, Surabaya. In this opportunity, I will be presenting our research, which is titled Forecasting Rainfall in Surabaya using the singular spectrum analysis method. The outline here, as you can see, the topic that we will touch on today include the introduction of the research. Second is the materials and method that we utilize. The third is the result of the research and the subsequent discussion. And last but not least, the conclusion. As you might already be familiar with, rainfall is the amount of water discharged that falls in an area at a particular time. By predicting rainfall, several benefits may be acquired in many fields, including irrigation, agriculture, and disaster management, especially flooding. Surabaya was chosen because according to the Regional Disaster Management Team, when the city of Surabaya is hit by heavy rain, it will result in puddles of water at various points with varying depths. Several reports by the World Meteorological Organization explain that most of the flood disasters triggered by rainfall in Indonesia are related to extreme rainfall. In the present research, we predict Surabaya rainfall using the Singular Spectrum Analysis Method or SSA. The Singular Spectrum Analysis Method is a method with the non-parametric approach and is effectively used in data preprocessing. The effectiveness of this method is demonstrated by extracting hidden information and reducing noise within data. So, in general, the existence of information through forecasting rainfall in the city of Surabaya using the SSA method can help increase awareness of the negative impact that can be caused by the state of rainfall, especially on flood problems. Several researchers with a similar method have previously been done by Puspita Tari, who study Bogor rainfall, and Rahman, who study Jakarta rainfall. The result acquired from the SSA yield highly accurate rainfall forecast data. Then, what about Surabaya? We will explore the result in a later segment, so stay tuned. Firstly, we will discuss the data collection. We have collected the Surabaya monthly rainfall data from Geodet Meteorological Station during the 15 year from 2006 to 2022. 180 observational data were collected in total, with 80% of it consisting of training data and the remainder 20% being testing data. For the method, the singular spectrum analysis consists of two steps, which are decomposition and deconstruction, which are further divided into another two steps. Decomposition consists of embedding and singular value decomposition. Meanwhile, the reconstruction consists of eigentriple grouping and diagonal averaging. The first one is the embedding. The embedding process is initiated by specifying the base number of L or window length, which is then used in determining the number of rows of the trajectory matrix. This trajectory matrix is the result of embedding, where the path matrix will be 72 rows and 73 columns. The trajectory matrix presented as follows. The next one is the singular value decomposition or SVD. The singular value decomposition is done by multiplying the trajectory matrix, the path transport matrix, which the result then search for the eigenvalues and eigenvector. Besides that, eigentriple will be obtained. It contains of singular value, left singular vector, and right singular vector from the trajectory matrix. The next one is eigentriple grouping. The eigenvector generated by the singular value decomposition product will be grouped according to the pattern on the eigenvector plot, grouping them into seasonal, trend, and noise. The grouping is determined based on the result of the eigenvalue plot, obtained by looking at the similarity of the graph. The last one is diagonal averaging. We reconstructed the grouping result with the parameter of the SSA result which will then produce the reconstructed matrix according to the group. The result of the reconstruction of each group are added together so that the diagonal averaging value will be obtained, which is a prediction from the data. Okay, right now we are going to see the result. First of all, we do the descriptive statistical analysis, and we can see that during the 15-year period in Surabaya, there has been quite a bit of rain. As you can see, mostly of the histogram data is on the left. And the most significant rainfall, which is 886 millimeter cubic, occurs very rarely. We also can see the other statistical measure from the table here, such as average, which is 175.5, the median 140.8, the standard deviation 176.09, the skewness 0.99, and the kurtosis 3.67, which means the data has a positive plot and kurtosis. The next analysis continue with decomposition, which consists of embedding and singular value decomposition. The result is 72, or half from the training data is determined to be the best window length we can use. As we can see that the mean square error of the 72 window length is the lowest mean square error. And therefore, we have the trajectory matrix as follows. Furthermore, the singular value decomposition offers that starting from the 6th eigenvalue, the decrease has slowed down significantly. The 6th eigenvalue is right here, and if we take a closer look, we can see that the 2nd and the 3rd eigenvalue here is very close. It also happens with
sorry,
the 4th and 5th
Mr.
eigenvalue.
Ivan. I'm
It
sorry,
might be
Mr.
a sign
Ivan.
that we can group them together.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ivan.
Yeah.
To the limit time, 3 minutes ago. Okay.
I'm sorry that I guess that the video presentation is 10 to 12 minutes,
Okay.
so I make the 10 minutes video.
Okay. Okay, 3 minutes. Okay.
Please continue the video, I guess. In the next step. And in the next step is the eigentriple grouping. We can see that the first eigentriple has a trend pattern, this one, and the second and third eigentriple has a similar pattern, which also occurs in eigentriple 4th and 5th. These seasonal patterns we will refer to as group 1, and group 2. And the rest of eigentriple starting from the 6 to 50 is said to be the noise component. The plot here showing the result of the reconstruction. This one is the trend, and the right one is the seasonal. This one is also a seasonal, and this one is the noise component. And furthermore, we also review the grouping we've done with the double-G correlation matrix. The result showed no noise. It proved by the darker the color font, which means that the grouping is good enough. And the last step before we do the forecast is diagonal averaging. Diagonal averaging is a process to change the initial matrix to the form of the Hankel matrix, so that predicted values are obtained from the data. We also obtain the linear recurrent formula from the multiplication of vector eigen with the vector component. So now we are able to forecast the rainfall in Surabaya. The result of the forecast is presented as follows. The plot shows that the actual and prediction are closely similar. We can see the actual by the blue line and the prediction by the red line. And the highest rainfall in Surabaya is predicted to occur in March, which is 855.17. So appropriate handling is needed. Meanwhile, other months as January with 433.14, April with 397, and November with 409.11 is also need to be considered because they have approximately half the rainfall of March. Another month that has a negative rainfall forecast such as May, July, August, September, October, and December mean that there is no rain in that month. We also validate the model we have with mean absolute deviation and mean square error. Their value are used to determine the accuracy level. And as presented here, we have the accuracy for training data with mean absolute deviance is around 10 and mean square error is around 109. Meanwhile, the testing data have mean absolute deviance of 151 and mean square error of 32,000. The results show that the testing error is greater than the training error. Therefore, it can be inferred that this forecasting model should not be used for long-term forecasting, but it can be used for the short-term forecasting. In conclusion, the research has observed that the base window length is 72, or half from the training data. In addition, we also know that March will most probably have the highest rainfall of the year. And finally, from the validated data, it can be concluded that the result can only be used for the short term because the training accuracy is lower than the training accuracy. I guess that's all. Thank you for your attention during the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ivan. The next time is question and answer. Any question answer from to Mr. Ivan, all presenter? Mr. Okay. Any question? We are glad to receive the question from the chat box. Okay. Or raise your hand. Okay. Question to Mr. Ivan. From me. Okay.
Okay.
It's very interesting research. How to the data collected from the rainfall in Surabaya.
So
How to collecting data?
okay. The data was collected from the Juanda Meteorological Station from 2006 to 2022 and 2022, and it used the monthly data. So we got some journal and it more like a report from the rainfall data from 2006 until 2022. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, due to limited time, we need to end our discussion session. Thank you very much for the Mr. Ivan. Okay. The next presenter, number 3 is Muhammad Eka Suryana. Can you hear me, Mr. Eka?
Yeah, can I start now?
Okay. The title of this research of Mr. Eka, Weakness of Active Contour Algorithm in Finding Word Perimeter on Image Datasheet and its Solution. 10 minutes for Mr. Eka presentation. Time is yours.
Thank you, host. I'll directly start the presentation. I made some adjustment to the title since I think the old title is too offensive. But basically, what I discussed is the same: how we solve the one boundary detection using noun method. And here I'll present you the brief overview. I'll be quick since I only have around 5 minutes. This is state of the art. As you can see, we have conduct review of the existing state of the art research. And why we conduct this research, since basically our final goal is to find and segmenting the wound according to the red, yellow, or black color. I forgot in the we collaborate with Nurse Ratna Aryani from Politeknik Kesehatan Jakarta 1 in this research, and basically this is her requirement for us to solve. We tried to segment the one into 3 different colors, into red, yellow, and black. But to do that, we need to first lock the object, lock the wound object. And basically, what lock is mean, we from if we are given wound and its surrounding in the photography, return only the wound object. I think I hope that's clear. And the methodologies to solve the problem, we interested to use parametric active counter from CAS 1988. Okay, so how the method works. You can see from the upper left image, this is the original data, and the upper right are the marking from of the wound. Basically, we need to make some marking around the wound, and the method will automatically shrink to just around the wound object. That's basically what active counter means to do. And finally, the lower left image is the ground truth from the expert, which were manually annotated, since we need to evaluate how the methods works and compared with the actual annotation. This is the process. As you can see from the original circle, it shrunk to the around the wound boundary, but there is some missing counter here. This is normal since we don't expect for the method to solve all the problem equally. And how we evaluate the result. Still, basically, you can see on the second image here, which I am pointing, we overlay the ground truth against the estimated wound boundary from the active counter on top of each other. The closer the image are, it means the method works better. And the farther or dissimilar the boundary are, it means the work works less satisfying. Basically, we compute the area of the ground truth, subtract with the area from the estimated border, just subtraction between two area. If you talk about how we found the area, then that's another problem. It is not talked here. So what's the problem? At the start, we stated we are using active counter, but actually active counter failed to solve the problem. The solution you see here is the improvement from our team by adding some extra stage such that the result works better. To find the cause why the curve failed to converge to the correct border, we need to analyze the equation, and basically the most responsible formula is both in the last equation. I just give a quick overview why the weakness happened. The active counter basically moving curve little by little to the target wound border. It moved slowly. The equation on the last line here, basically it adding floating point numbers or real numbers in mathematics. The problem was this will be converted into computer or image coordinate. As you can see, floating point doesn't have a real coordinate. We call them as imaginary coordinates. There are two approaches to solve this problem. First, we need very high resolution wound image if we want the active counter to work best. But unfortunately, it's hardly to be expected on the industry, since the image which was taken by the nurse can be varied according to its resolution. This basically something we cannot control, but we have to improve the situation. Basically, we solve this using interpolation. As you can see, this is some analysis of the interpolation. The left image is the original data. We transform the image into lower manifold of the original image, and the right image are the applied interpolation to the original image, and then we apply again lower manifold interpretation. We can see that the interpolated image brought higher contrast compared to original image. Henceforth, this is the recapitulation of all the testing against much larger data set, and we are confident to state that our proposal slightly improve the performance of the active contour model. So this is the conclusion. We enhance the performance of active contour through pre-stage interpolation. This is our finding. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Eka. It's very interesting research. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the question and answer or discuss the session. All presenter, any question from Mr. Eka? Okay, any question? Okay, I question for to Mr. Eka. I want to question. Okay, Mr. Eka, what of the limitation of your research?
Thank you for the question. It is very clearly stated that basically, in order for active contour to work better, we need much higher resolution. We are adding pre-stage application before active contour was applied, but basically that didn't solve the problem. The problem still exists. We just minimize it. So basically, if the input image is too small, we can expect our modified algorithm to also bring similar result with the original one. That's the limitation.
Okay, I see. Thank you very much for your question. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we applause to Mr. Eka. The number presenter 4, Mr. Fauzan Khairi C. Harun. Can you hear me, Mr. Fauzan? Gak ada. Okay. Okay. The next presenter, the name is Arimbi Meganingrum. Arimbi Meganingrum. Miss Arimbi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. The next presenter, the name is Arimbi Meganingrum. The title of this research, Sharia peer-to-peer lending information system for web-based MSMI Amina. Okay, 10 minutes for you. Time is yours.
Thank you for the opportunity given to me today. My name is Arimbi Meganingrum. On this occasion, I will present our research entitled Sharia Peer-to-Peer Lending Information System for Web SMEs Amina. BPS data shows that 62.2% of MSMEs need business capital assistance, and the result of filling out the questionnaire directly to 30 MSME owners regarding the needs of MSMEs, obstacle when applying for loans to bank, and source of business capitals resulted in a diagram as shown in Figure 1. From Figure 1, it can be concluded that the majority of MSME owners choose to use personal funds to develop their businesses because they are worried about high interest rates, heavy collateral requirements when applying for loans from conventional bank, and the administration of loan application is not easy. This, of course, make it difficult for them to get capital assistance that is useful for developing their business, considering that there are still many MSMEs that require additional business capital in analysis of the diagram. What is Sharia P2P lending information system for web-based MSMEs Aminah? Aminah is information system that implement financial technology using concept of Sharia-based P2P lending, which aim to help micro, small, and medium business owners in overcoming capital shortage without the need to use complicated requirements. There are no high interest rates like those conventional banks. This information system is expected to be able to answer the needs of people who have businesses, especially micro businesses. This information system has a role as a license between business owners who need additional capital and capital owners who want to help other and advancing MSMEs with funds that are not too large but useful. Because MSME will be funded by several lenders. Implementation program using extreme programming. We use extreme programming because in making a system using this method, it focuses on customer satisfaction, where system developers and customer can be communicate continuously, so that if one iteration of system has been completed, a review will be carried out by the customer. If the customer feel it doesn't fit, a revision will be made until it feels right and function well. So developer can continue to the next iteration. To find out what we need, we collect data, filling out questionnaires directly to the owner of MSMEs who are located nearby. Then conduct discussion with the customers of the system about what feature will be provided. By using extreme programming, the first thing to do is create a release planning. To create a release planning, the user story from customer will be made in such a way to facilitate communication about the feature will be created by customer. And this is a user story from a customer regarding the flow of this system. Based on the user story told by customer, a use case diagram is made. So we can see the description of the user story more clearly as shown in figure 2. There are 4 actors in the system. It's lender, borrower, and guest and admin. Lender as funding provides, borrower as recipients of funding, admin as a facilitator between lenders and borrowers, and guests as a website visitors only. After the customer approves the use case diagram that is made and feels right, the existing user story will be divided into several user stories as shown in this table. There are 18 user stories based on customer user story. We complete all the tasks in 3 iterations. After the stories we create, we held a small meeting to determine which user stories to start working on in iteration 1. In iteration 1, it was decided to work on user stories as shown in this table on the first picture. And the next 2 pictures, these are some of the tasks we have done in iteration 1. After all user stories in iteration 1 were finished, we held a meeting again to do testing. When testing is complete, we again determine which user stories will be developed in next iteration 2. Also, we do a similar flow in iteration 3. We'll be using the black box testing method, which is a test that focuses on testing the program unit of a system that is seen whether it has met the needs of the user wishes or not. Based on in this trial conducted by 5 respondents as lender, based on the result of the functional trials using the black box testing method through questionnaire media on 5 lenders user, the percentage of answer was 98%. So the system can be categorized as very visible or very accordant with the result of expected lenders. In this trial conducted by 5 respondents as borrower. Based on the result of functional trials using the black box testing method through questionnaire media on 5 borrowers user, the percentage of answer was 96%. So system can be categorized as very visible or very accordance in the result expected by borrowers. In this trial conducted by respondent as admin. Based on the result of functional trials using the black box testing method through questionnaire media on to admin users, the percentage of answers was 91%. So the system can be categorized a very visible or very accordance with the result expected by admin. So the result from the percentage each user, then the total percentage of eligibility for the system functionality is calculated. The average system functionality visibility is 95%. Based on this calculation, the average percentage of system functionality is 95%, which is in the interpretation range of 81% up to 100%. It can be said that features contained in this whole system can be categorized as very visible or very accordance with the result expected by the user. And the conclusion is based on the result of research that has been carried out in designing a Sharia peer-to-peer lending system using extreme programming, testing has been carried out and the result system is proven to be able to help borrower because it makes easier for borrowers to meet lenders in seeking funding. In this system, information also help lenders because the system makes easier for lenders to find borrowers who need fund because the result of data calculation during testing produce is 95%. The system information developed using the extreme programming is also more effective in its operation because it can produce application with an efficient level of performance from the planned target time.
Okay, thank you very much. So,
Okay, your time
Miss
presentation
RMB
will 10
Mechanic Room.
minutes, and then
Okay.
we will have 5 minutes question
Okay.
and answer.
Any
Okay, the time is
ladies
yours,
and
Kak
gentlemen,
Eko.
any question for to Miss RMB Mechanic Room? Any question? Okay. Okay. Any question? Okay, Mr. Muhammad, please your question to Miss RMB Mechanic Group.
Okay, so I want to ask to Mrs. How do Emina systems prevent loan fraud as often happens in Indonesia, where the credit borrowers using their business only for the eligibility reason and then use the loan money for the personal needs? Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat the question because I lost the connection?
Okay. How do Emina systems prevent loan fraud as often happens in Indonesia, where the credit borrowers using their business only for the eligibility reason and then use the loan money for their personal needs?
Okay. How the borrowers pay back to lenders, or did you mean like that?
Yes.
In this system I made, the borrowers when the borrowers pay monthly monthly, and they will input the estimate rate, estimate profit when they add their data. They will input the estimate profit, and then they will pay it monthly with that presentation of estimate profit sharing. Is it clear?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Arimbi and Muhammad. Any answer, Mr. Arimbi? Enough?
Okay, thank you for the answer, Mrs. RMB. That's enough for me.
Okay. Okay, enough. Okay, thank you very much to Mr. Muhammad and Miss Arimbi. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the number of 5. The next presenter, the name of Naufal Yafran Al-Baqi. Can you hear me, Mr. Naufal?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Naufal Yafran Al-Baqi, the title of this research, Analysis of Public Sentiment Against PPKM Policy on Social Media Twitter using Knife Fire Classifier method. Okay, 10 minutes for Mr. Naufal. Time is yours.
Bias class. Bias class. First is the background. In 2019, there has been the spread of the coronavirus COVID-19. Since March 2020, the spread of COVID-19 has been declared a global pandemic. Indonesia is one of the countries affected by the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Various efforts had been made the Indonesia government to anticipating the increased spread of COVID-19. One of the much impressing through limiting community activity. The application of restriction on the community activity is regulation of government regulation number 21 in 2020 and is named PSBB. However, since January 2021, the policy has changed to the PPKM because PPKM is considered less effective. In February 2021, the government changed the PPKM policy to PPKM Mikro. In July 2021, the West increased the spread of the Delta variant of COVID-19. This made the government efforts emergency PPKM. And furthermore, the government again changed the PPKM emergency policy to PPKM level 1 to 5 ongoing today. PPKM policy are contrast change and has been going off for a long time. Saya pun menjalani research and consulting from February to March 2021. State that has 64% of respondents know about PPKM policy and 36 didn't know about PPKM policy. When well of the 64% who know about this policy, there were 45% of the people who agree with this policy, while the rest hope the policy is stopped because they invest with the economic activity. Different in public opinion regarding in the implementation of PPKM policy in the also occur on social media. One of the most social media Indonesia is Twitter with 59% of the total social media user. This made Twitter with usually by people to address or respond to public. This make the Twitter opinion or public view content in the Twitter can be used as useful information. One of the used Twitter data is the often do is sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis is one of the field of natural language processing. We use text analysis to obtain various sentiment analysis and one of the classification application in the text data. The classification of text data can be done by various methods, including logistic regression, supervised machine, K-nearest neighbor, and next Bayes classifier. Each method has its advantage and disadvantage in this study. In this study, the method that will be used is the classification of next Bayes classifier to conduct sentiment analysis on Twitter data with the topic of implementing PPKM policy in Indonesia. The research was conducted with the knowing how to well performance of Bayes classifier algorithm. In addition, this study will also see how to the community respond to implementation PPKM policy. The second, simple random sampling is a method of sampling number of key samples from n population in a simple way, where is the value of key less than n and key element n. To determine the minimum number of selected samples with a larger population and known value, you can use the following formula. Next, TF-IDF. TF-IDF is one of the work-weighting methods, but here is the formula for TF-IDF. Next, Naive Bayes. Naive Bayes classifier is one of the supervised learning methods in machine learning that can be effective used in the text data and with larger amount of data. The application of the classification method is based on the application Bayes theorem. With the Bayes probability terminology, the equation can be read in equation 2.11. But in the equation 2.11, there are too many multiplication. To overcome that rule is use addition in the algorithm, so the equation 2.11 turns into equation 2.12. Next, cross-validation. The fourth cross-validation is a method of randomizing data into a group of data. So, this a model can be tested in a random input data. Next, confusion metric. The confusion metric is use of the training data and test data to determine evaluation the performance the model has been made. This is the result. First, analysis descriptive. It can be represented the period from 1 July 2021 to October 2021. There were 1,700,000 tweets of public interaction regarding the implementation of PPKM policy on Twitter. It is known that on average there are 40 tweets every day discussing this policy. Meanwhile, the peak of interaction occurred on 15 July 2021 with 65 tweets. This was due to surge in positive COVID-19 confirmation case in Indonesia, while the lowest occurred to October 2021. Based on the picture above it, it can also be seen the peak of interaction occurred at 90 WIB to 2022 WIB and 10 WIB to 11 WIB. Next, preprocessing data. The first is cleansing, the second is scaffolding, the third is tokenizing, The fourth is steaming, and the last is the normalization. Next, FIDF. The number of word contained in the data is 1,933 words. As registered word will be have on a value for S document content in the data. The result of the TF-IDF calculation from a word weighting metric measuring the data split and cross-validation. In split data, the data will be divided into parts, namely training data and the test data, using the proportion rule of 18 for training data and 20% for the test data. The results know that the high accuracy value is 71%, and from the result, it can be concluded the model is stable enough so that it can be used to make prediction on training data. Next, this is the real information and sample information in the model. Next, furthermore, because the model is good and stable, it will be used to make prediction on the test data. As a result, the value of the model evaluation in making decision on the training data is the value. Next, sentiment. It can be seen that has many 37% tweet with negative sentiment. Meanwhile, 32% tweet with a positive sentiment, and 31 have neutral sentiment. But the word cloud representative method will describe the positive response and emergence in the population on Twitter, social media toward the implementation of the PKM policy. The positive response from the community, among others, is the community consider the implementation of PPKM to able make Indonesian citizens more often to apply and implementation health protocol in the daily. Showing negative public response on social media Twitter to implementation of the PPKM policy, many people think the implementation of PPKM has been going on for a long time and continue to be extended is determined to component in terms of economy and activity. In addition, restriction of community activity in the implementation of PPKM, such as the
Okay, Mr. Naufal, I'm sorry to the limit time. Ladies and gentlemen, the next is time for question and answer. Okay, any question for Mr. Naufal Yafran Al-Bagi? Hello? Any question? Okay. Any question for Mr. Naufal for me? Okay. Can you hear me, Mr. Naufal?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. What the benefit of your research? Public sentiment against PPKM policy. Benefit for social and benefit for student. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. The benefit is when we research about sentiment analysis PPKM policy, the people or the student, we can know the main topic of the PPKM in the sentiment, in the negative sentiment or the positive sentiment.
Any example the negative sentiment?
Okay. Example in the negative sentiment, we know the main topic in the negative sentiment is the PPKM berlevel, level in PPKM, the change name PPKM in the change name PPKM yang it make people big confusion gitu.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Naufal, for your answer. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the next presenter, the name of Prasetyo Wibowo Junanto. Can you hear me, Mr. Prasetyo?
Yes, I hear.
Yes. Okay. The next presenter, Mr. Prasetyo Wibowo Junanto. The title of this presentation, Prediction of Traffic Congestion based on time series dataset number of vehicle using neural network algorithm. 10 minutes for Mr. Prasetyo. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. The first, let me introduce myself. My name is Prasetyo Wibowo Junanto. I am a lecturer at Universitas Negeri Jakarta. Today, I would like to present my research about prediction of traffic congestion based on time series dataset number of vehicle using neural network algorithm. This is a preliminary research for the next step of research topic in intelligent transportation system. In the beginning, I want to explain about background and goals of this research. Today, the rapid growth in urbanization has led to a tremendous number of car increase in cities. In below, the picture shows the estimate vehicle growth between 2015 until 2040. The increased number of vehicles causes an increase in congestion during peak hour, like go to work and coming back to home from work. This case causes traffic jam, accident, and emergency vehicle trip to be disrupted. Heavy traffic congestion causes waste time, increased pollution, waste fuel, increased transportation costs, and increased driving pressures, inefficient supply chain, and adverse effect on the economy such as inflation. Basically, congestion divided into categories that are recurring traffic congestion and non-recurring traffic congestion. Recurring traffic congestion is traffic jams that appear at the same place and time every day, usually during peak hour, such as going to work and coming home from work. Non-recurring traffic congestion is congestion caused by random unplanned event or temporary disruption that occur on the highway like accident or road maintenance. Traffic congestion can be predicted based on a data set of the number of vehicles passing a certain road segment. But the scale of the data set and the quality of the model will directly affect the accuracy of the predicting traffic condition. In the intelligent transportation system concept, traffic prediction mainly focuses on two aspects that are prediction of the number of vehicles and prediction of vehicle speed. Many studies have been conducted to predict short-term traffic by various methods. Example, ARIMA seasonal differential model, linear Gaussian Bayesian network model, stack autoencoder, neural network, etc. In this study, we will try to predict traffic density based on time series data on the number of vehicles that pass on certain road for 1 week. The dataset was obtained from New York City Open Data, which is the official website of New York City that provides open dataset. The dataset can be downloaded from website in data.cityofnewyork.us. In this chapter, I will describe about method. In this paper, we are using neural network to predicting the congestion. The first table displays the attribute of the dataset, and the second table displays raw data sample of traffic by number of vehicles on Brownwood Avenue Road, and the mapping showing intersection that road. This figure shows a general process workflow to prediction traffic. In the block of raw data is the data of the number of vehicles that pass at the intersection in a certain direction every 1 hour in 1 day for 1 week on various 3,072 roads in New York. And the block of pre-processing, the data pre-processing is done by filtering attributes that are not necessary and have no effect on the prediction result. The result on this state are obtained that ID and segment ID have no effect on the prediction result. So, attribute of ID and segment ID can be deleted from the raw data. The next preprocessing state is the windowing process, which is carried out on the raw data on the selected road section. Windowing use is 24 because it will predict traffic density on certain road at certain hours. And the last, block modeling and evaluation. After data preprocessing is complete, the dataset is left with 24 input attribute and 1 target attribute. As a result, training and testing dataset need to be identified prior to the design of predictive models. The training dataset is used to build the prediction model. The size of the training dataset is an influential factor to ensure better prediction of the model. The machine learning algorithm used to build the prediction model is the neural network algorithm. In the last step is evaluation. Evaluation used to evaluate predictive performance. The test dataset is fed into the design machine learning algorithm and subsequently performance is measured by cross-validation. In this chapter, I will describe about the result of prediction by neural network model. With 94 training cycle set in the training data, we get the root mean square error value is 17.954. with a learning rate of 0.069 and a momentum of 0.688. With the test data obtained root mean square error of 13.188, still with 94 training cycle, the learning rate value is 0.099 and the momentum is 0.692. The system design successfully predict for 2nd November 2014 at 11 p.m. until 12 a.m. It is known that the number of vehicles that will pass in 28.428 from the factual data, which is 22 vehicles. Figure 2 shows the prediction result graph between the initial data and the predicted data. From the graph, it can be seen that the system is able to predict the number of vehicles with linear regression. And it can be seen that the prediction results are still in the model environment developed by the system. Figure 3 shows the modeling result of the neural network, which was developed with 14 hidden layers and 1 bias. The conclusion, we can get the conclusion is based on the design model, the neural network has successfully predicted the number of vehicles that pass on various roads in the New York City with low error rate.
Okay, thank you very much for presentation, Mr. Prasetyo Wibowo Junanto. The title prediction of traffic congestion based on time series dataset number. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, any question to Mr. Prasetyo Wibowo? Any question? Okay, because the presenter no question to Mr. Prasetyo Wibowo, I want to question to you, Mr. Prasetyo. Can you hear me? Okay, the result is very interesting to me because I work in Politeknik Keselamatan Transport Jalan, Transport Minister of Transportation. Okay, the question to you: what the analyze dataset number? Okay, what the analyze dataset number, the output of the algorithm. Thank you. Okay.
Sorry, you mean how to
The
analyze
analysis method, analysis method in use is in the research.
Analysis method for prediction.
Yes.
Yes. I only use dataset for
On your
input to
your conclude that
to windowing. So windowing we get optimum about 24 window. So the next we use neural algorithm for the optimization prediction to optimization data for prediction the next day or next week. Sorry, next week. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer, Mr. Prasetyo. Okay, thank you very much for giving the presentation, Mr. Prasetyo. The last presenter, the name is Ria Arafia. Can you hear me, Miss Ria Arafia? Hello. Hello, Miss Ria Arafia or Miss Okta? Okay, Miss Okta Salsabila, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, the last presenter in this room is Miss Ria Arafia and Miss Okta. The title of the presentation, Development of Early Warning System to Monitor Learning Progress. 10 minutes for you. Time is yours, Mr. Okta.
Okay. Before I want to apologize because there's a chance in my PowerPoint, so I will present it live. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Oktarina Salsabila, and I will present our research entitled Development of Early Warning Systems to monitor learning progress. Almost in every course, there are some successful learners and unsuccessful learners. There are many methods to reduce the number of unsuccessful learners. One of the methods is to monitor learning progress, which can use to recognize whether a learner will pass or not. Monitoring based on modeling learning progress prediction can use in alternative ways. The modeling of learning progress prediction can use as an early warning system that can warn the learners throughout the learning process. The early warning system in learning aims to monitor and warn students and teachers that there are students who will fail in their learning activities. By identifying students who are at risk of failing in a course early, lecturers can provide support to assist students in achieving success in the course. For the research method, naive Bayes is a classification method that assumes that an attribute doesn't depend on other attributes or independent. It is also the best algorithm for predicting based on performance detail. For the system development life cycle, we use waterfall, that is a sequential software development process model in which progress is considered progressively flowing down through a list of phases that must be executed in order to successfully build software. The steps are requirement analysis, design, implementation, testing, and maintenance. We use waterfall method because it is a small project with deliverables that are easy to define from the start. For the result, the analysis phase in this research was conducted by interviewing the lecturers of the computer science study program and the lecturers of the mathematics education study program. The results obtained at this stage are as follows. The system has 4 types of users, namely students, lecturers, the person in charge of the course, and admin. Students can see the result achieved from doing assignments, quizzes, midterm exams, and end of semester exams. Lecturers can add assignments along with the weight of the value of the assignment. Lecturers can also fill in students' grade on assignments that have been added. Lecturers can download student grade files in courses, and the person in charge of the course can fill in student attendance at the course meeting. This is the use case of the system and there are 4 actors in the system that are lecturers, students, the person in charge of a course, and admin. This is for the login page user interface. This is the user interface of homepage where students can see their predictions of learning progress. This is the user interface of the class page. And this is the attendance page. And based on course data that has been collected previously, students can predict the possibility of failing in the course. The data will be classified using the knife bias method into 3 categories, namely safe, not safe enough, and safe. Not safe. Tests are carried out to test the calculation of the training data using data testing. From the data help, the data is divided into 70% training data and 30% testing data. This test is carried out by calculating the accuracy value of the model, and the resulting accuracy is 69%. For the conclusion, knife bias can be used to create a prediction model of learning progress obtained to predict future learning progress, which will be used as the early warning system learning. The early warning system learning score test is monitored to be detected as an input variable to make a decision whether the learner will fail or not. And prediction of learning progress using machine learning, the knife bias classifier algorithm in a study reaches 69% accuracy. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Miss Oktarina Salsabila. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, any question for Mr. Raya Arafia and Miss Okta?
Yeah, for the collaboration with
Any question?
electrical company with government.
Any
Thank
question?
you, Bu Irawati.
Okay, I want to question to Miss Okta. Okay, Miss Okta, the title of this research, development of early warning system to monitor learning progress. How to describe monitor learning progress in your research?
Pardon, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Okay, how to describe monitor learning progress in your research?
Okay, how to describe? So the system we built, the student, the lecturers, they fill in the grade of the student's assignment, and From that, the system can predict the result, whether the student will pass or not from a course. From the model that we make before, using naive Bayes algorithm.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Oktarina.
Okay, thank
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, to limit time, we need to end in our discussion session. Thank you very much for participant in question and answer session. Okay, to the all presenter, are there any final talk before we end this session? Thank you for the concise closing remark. Once again, thank you very much for joining parallel session of SMIC and delivering an interesting your presenter. Please let us to give you an appreciate for the space. Ladies and gentlemen, please give applause for our invited speaker and all participants. Okay, the information, the display of this Zoom certificate will be able to generate top registration system on September 9 September ya. Information of the best presenter will be able in website. Okay, the best presenter. Please also upload your full paper to the registration system for publication process. Publication payment only paid when paper has been accepted. Okay, we have finally come to the end part of this parallel session. Okay, before we finish this parallel session, take a picture. Miss Operator, can you take a picture? Kamu bagus. Okay, open your camera. All presenter, take a picture for all presenter. Okay, Mr. Muhammad Aditya, can you open your mic, open your camera? Okay, Miss Operator, can you take a picture? Okay, smile. Oke, balonku ada mana? Oke. Oke. Enough? Oke, thank you, Miss Operator. Thank you to all presenter today, and thank you for attending this session. If you have additional question for presenter, you contact them via email listed in the abstract book. As an information, before I close the session, allow me to take a photo. Okay. Once again, thank you for the participant in SMIC. See you SMIC next year. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Terima kasih all presenter.
Terima kasih.
Oke, terima kasih Bu Kinkin. Sampai ketemu di Mones LPPM.
Oke, partisipan. Pak